Hi, this is Joshua P. Nelson, or JPNdrift as I'm known to some of you, and this is going to be a short instructional video on how to drift an automatic, as in a car that's not manual. An automatic. So, step one, don't. Drifting an automatic is the dumbest thing in the world. You just don't want to do this. If you are interested in drifting, buy a manual car. Or if you have an automatic car and you want to get into drifting, trade or sell your automatic car and get a manual car. If you are very mechanically inclined, you may be able to swap your automatic transmission for a manual transmission, but unless you have tons of expertise in working on cars and swapping transmissions, it's probably not something you want to attempt, especially if you're working on a budget. You'll just save yourself tons of time and money and happiness if you just buy a manual to begin with. Step two, don't. I'm not joking. It's just stupid. Don't even bother drifting an automatic because people will make fun of you. No one will take you seriously. You will lose tons of power. People will make fun of you. It's just idiotic. It's probably the dumbest thing that you'll ever attempt to do. Now that that's out of the way, here's how to do it. So, there are obviously many ways to initiate your drift and to hold your drift, but the simplest one is to lock your car into gear. You know those numbers past the D sign? Most automatic cars will have the 1, the 2, some cars will have the 3, where you can lock your automatic transmission into a gear. This is horrible for the transmission. The reason you do this is you don't want your car trying to shift gears while you're in mid-drift. Otherwise you won't drift. When you get to the top of your revs, your car will shift into the next gear and you will just keep going in a straight line. So you want to lock your car into gear. So shift your car into whatever gear you want to execute your drift in. Usually it's 1 or 2. You'll probably want to start with 1. Or unless you have a really powerful car. If you've got some awesome 400 horsepower race car, then you can do whatever you want. Probably spin the tires in any gear. But if you are like me and you have a woefully underpowered car, you'll probably want to start with the 1. So lock your car into gear. You're going to want to abuse the handbrake a little bit. Just rip it, because you obviously don't have a clutch. You can't clutch kick. You aren't going to have speedy shifts. You can't do shift lock and lock yourself into gear like those manual guys can. So you're probably just going to want to get up to speed, get your revs as high as you can get them for the corner, and just rip your handbrake as hard as you can. It's probably the best way to initiate yourself when you have an automatic. Rip your handbrake, slide in, counter steer. Your handbrake and your counter steer are going to be almost simultaneous. Depending on the corner, this is going to vary, but what I like to do is to rip it and to turn in for the counter steer at the same time. It's just bam and go. The handbrake comes like a split second sooner, because as soon as you hit the top of your handbrake and your car starts going, it's going to start to slide sideways. You're going to want to counter steer immediately so you can start going sideways instead of just spinning out. So rip the handbrake, counter steer in. As soon as you get your desired angle, you're going to want to let go of the handbrake and just stomp on the throttle. Just stomp on it. You're going to have to stomp on it because if you drive an automatic, your car is probably underpowered, like mine, and you're going to need all the power you can get. Unfortunately, I only make about probably like 180 horsepower in my car, so I have to stomp on it. I have to stomp on it all the way to the floor. So if you got a slow car like me, stomp it to the floor. So, handbrake, turn in, stomp it to the floor, adjust your angle with your steering. I like to tap the front brake a little bit just to straighten out the front end. A lot of times I come into the corner way too fast and I have to tap the front brake. And then when you're powering over, it's pretty easy. Just carry your drift as far as you want to carry it, and then you can either straighten out or you can link the corner to the next corner. Depending on how fast you're going in the corner. You're obviously going to have to practice this quite a bit for various tracks that you're going to be on. Or if you're in a parking lot, or if you're on the street. Street drifting, no, bad. No street drifting. Don't street drift. It's just stupid. The racetrack. If you're on the racetrack, you can either straighten out, or you can link your corner with another handbrake, or sometimes you can carry your momentum with you from your first drift into your second drift, and you won't have to rip the handbrake again. You can just stomp on it, do your drift, let off the gas, let your rear end slide around, stomp on it again for your second one. Yeah, it's pretty much just like drifting a manual, except way, way shittier. So yeah, that's how to drift an automatic. Good luck. I'm not joking. Don't street drift.